Tens of thousands call for Gaza ceasefire at Australian rallies. Hundreds call for release of hostages. Protest Day, Sunday, 19 November 2003.
To be recognised as a genocide. What does it take? We've seen pictures that look like they're from a Terminator film. Israeli tanks, armoured personnel carriers, soldiers going through the mud that used to be people's homes and schools and businesses. We see shots of the beach of Gaza. 1 minute, palm trees, a walk along the beach, places to eat. The next, absolute desolation, everything's scrubbed.
What's that?
This is the policy, practice of the genocidal government in Israel. We see these things every day, and we feel that despair. We hear the people crying for help. We can't reach out and help them, but we will not stop calling for justice. We will not stop calling for a ceasefire. We will not stop shaming those governments that have turned their back on humanity, because ultimately it comes back to us. Governments have failed us. The United Nations has failed us. It is up to us. We are the only hope, the ordinary people of the world, to stop this genocide, to stop this new Nakba in Palestine. And we must keep up the struggle. Thank you.
Occupation now!
End the 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 occupation now!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Long live Palestine!
Alright, I'd just like to inform everyone, if you haven't followed Adelaide campaign against racism and fascism on Facebook and Instagram, please do that now. You can keep up with the next event, the upcoming events that we'll be organising for the week. Stay involved in Palestinian activism, follow APOCA, follow students in Palestine as well, and stay involved. Alright, I'd like to call up Wasim Shalabi from Glimmer of Hope and a member of the Palestinian community.
Excuse me,
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peace and mercy be upon you all. Can I ask for a moment of silence for our martyrs in Gaza and the West Bank? Imagine living in a place where your home could control of your movement, your water, your food, and your freedom. A body that enforces laws that deprive you from basic human rights and hypocritically claims they are the cradle of human rights in the Middle East. It's a 6-month imprisonment with no court proceedings. It is also indefinitely renewable. You could potentially stay in prison for the rest of your life with no court proceedings or charge. When the army enter our cities, we immediately come together to protect ourselves.
in an all for one and one for all. Let's zoom out a little bit. Since October 7th, more than 3,000 people have been taken on administrative sentences in the West Bank. No Hamas, only occupation there. Only 2 weeks ago, our neighbors, the Abu Zanat family in Tulkarm, had their only 2 kids. One, 27 years old, and the other 17, shot dead by a sniper. They were not even allowed to bury them. They would go from one cemetery to the other, and they would be soldiers at the gates of the cemetery saying, "You cannot bury your dead." They had to sneak in the middle of the night to bury their loved ones. My uncle gave us the news in tears, saying, "I saw the dead bodies, I saw the blood." And I was only talking to them yesterday. In the same city of Tulkarm, very recently, we have a disabled kid who likes to go to the mosque and pray. It is where he felt calm and relaxed. He was going to pray in the early morning. Another sniper shot him dead. He was disabled, and we were not allowed to bury him. In the year 2008, my 80-year-old cousin, her name is Nuran Karmi, was kidnapped by settlers. This happened after the Israeli army issued a curfew on Palestinians. As a little kid, what would she know? She was out in the front yard of her own home. A car came. I parked in front of my uncle's house. A woman got out of that car, snatched her, and they drove away. We don't know anything about my cousin till today, and no investigation was launched. This is the story of my cousin. I was told about 2 other stories, and there are thousands more. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not have the honor of standing by the innocent people of Gaza, in Gaza. I'm never allowed in Gaza unless I get a permit from the military office of Israel. This is only because I'm from the West Bank. But please allow me to voice a woman from Gaza while she was wailing the loss of her son, when she said, "Oh people of the world, oh world, they are killing us. They are killing all of us. And you are silent. You are allowing a person with cases of fraud and honor to control you and control the world." And she closed her saying with a prayer, "Oh God, you are sufficient for us, and we seek refuge with you." The cases I am talking about are cases number 1,000, 2,000, and 4,000. Google them. To that lady and to all our heroes in Gaza, our children, our medical staff, our reporters, their women, their families, we say, we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I got the flag.
And we stand by you and by all the children of Gaza. Please, patience till we get the job done for you. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, every single colonist is terrified from us. They're terrified from our protests. Know that justice terrifies them. their false slogans and their acts of terror. They are not afraid because we call for peace. They are afraid because we call for fair peace and equal human rights. It is because we say every single child in Gaza is no less or no more important than every other child in this world. And that is what puts them to shame. The killing of 5,000 or 6,000 children is not okay. It never was, never will be. We want every single colonist to hear us demand a ceasefire now! Two things, please. Know that social media is a game changer. This is because the narrative is no longer in the control of media outlets or colonists. Keep sharing the truth and the wrongdoings of every single occupier, not just the occupiers of Palestine. Expose the occupiers wherever they are. Show their true colors and give the oppressed a voice. Give the oppressed a voice. And whatever you do not stop calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Palestine will never die!
Palestine will never die!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Palestine will never die!
Palestine will never die!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry!
Palestine will never die!
Palestine will never die!
I'd like to call up Layla Naja, who is a Palestinian from Gaza, a mother and a teacher. Give it up for
I'm going to deliver a poem. This poem was written by a Palestinian-Canadian poet and human rights activist, Rafif Ziada. She wrote this poem in the aftermath of the 2008-2009 Israeli assault on Gaza. This poem was relevant not only in 2008, but also in the Israeli aggression on Gaza in 2012, 2014, 2021, and it is most relevant today during this 2023 Israeli genocide on Gaza. This poem is devoted to every single Palestinian in the diaspora, for every single Palestinian in Gaza and the West Bank who in plain view, I repeat, in plain view, are being subjected to unlimited, barbaric, physical and mental violence. Coupled with torture in isolation, coupled with displacement, humiliation and starvation in isolation, in plain view by the illegal colonial apartheid state of to fit into sound bites and word limits. Today, my body was a TV massacre that had to fit into sound bites and word limits, filled enough with statistics to counter measured response. And I perfected my English, and I learned my UN resolutions. But still, he asked me, Miss Ziada, don't you think that everything would be resolved if you would just stop teaching so much hatred to your children? Pause. I look inside of me for strength to be patient. But patience is not at the tip of my tongue as the bombs drop over Gaza. Patience has just escaped me. Pause. Smile. We teach life, sir. Remember to smile. Pause. We teach life, sir. We Palestinians teach life after they have occupied the last sky. We teach life after they have built their settlements and apartheid walls after the last skies. We teach life, sir. But today, my body was a TV'd massacre made to fit into sound bites and word limits. And just give us a story, a human story. You see, this is not political. We just want you to tell people about you and your people, so give us a human story. Don't mention that word apartheid and occupation. This is not political. You have to help me as a journalist to help you tell your story, which is not a political story. Today, my body was a TV massacre. How about you give us a story of a woman in Gaza who needs medication? How about you? Do you have enough bone-broken limbs to cover the sun? Hand me over your dead and give me the list of their names in 1,200 word limits. Today, my body was a TV massacre that had to fit into sound bites and word limits and move those that are desensitized to terrorist blood. But they felt sorry. They felt sorry for the cattle over Gaza. So I give them UN resolutions and statistics, and we condemn and we deplore and we reject. And these are not equal sides. Occupier and occupied. And 100 dead. 200 dead. And 1,000 dead. And between that, war crime and massacre. I vent out words and smile. Not exotics. Not terrorists. And I recount 100 dead. To the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
Right, I'd like to call up Sabrine Shaheen and Mustafa Shaheen to say a few words.
Hello everyone. This is my father, Mustafa Shaheen. I just thought I'll tell you his story today. He was born in Safad al-Kabah, Palestine in 1944. He was expelled from his hometown with his whole family on foot all the way to Lebanon. He is older than the state of Israel. In 1982, during the Israeli invasion in Lebanon, his son was kidnapped, taken by the Israeli occupation as a hostage. The only reason he was taken, his only fault was being Palestinian. He was only 17, a child. My father is 80 years old now. He hasn't heard any news of him since. He's losing hope. Free all the hostages!
for Hussam.
If you are fighting for truth, things on behalf of another, just as we are here today, you are all Palestinians. And this is why in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the Nakba. This year also marks the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a document which stipulates fundamental rights that extend and apply to every man, woman and child on the planet without exception. Fundamental rights and protections that cannot be diminished, that must not be extinguished. This document was drafted in 1948 to prevent the atrocities of the Second World War from ever happening again, to prevent a Holocaust from ever happening again. And yet, here we stand today to protest a genocide that is being committed by Israel in a concentration camp created by Israel. Shame. And how did we get here? After 75 years, how did we get here? We are here because for 75 years, Israel has demonstrated a disregard for international humanitarian law that is flagrant, systematic and contemptuous. Shame. For 75 years, the West has given Israel permission to undermine and make an absolute mockery of the international legal framework that protects our humanity, that upholds our dignity, that defines our civility. For 75 years, Israel has had impunity for its criminality. And what we are witnessing now from the West, in their refusal to call for a ceasefire, in their silence, in our government's silence, to whom we say not in our name, what we are witnessing is this impunity in action, this complicity in action. And there is another way that this impunity is provided, and that is through language. Language, 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 language. If there is one thing I implore of all of you today, it is to master and understand language. Because it is bombs and bullets that kill women and children. But it is language that paves the way, that opens the door for those bombs to be dropped, for those bullets to be fired. It is language that justifies the deaths of those bombs and bullets. So it is really, really critical to understand, to dismantle the narrative, to understand the tactics of language. An example, Israel calls itself the victim. Shortly after the 7th of October, the Israeli ambassador to Australia came out and said, make no mistake, we are the victim. Shame. But why? Why shame? And this is what I'm getting at. We need to be able to dismantle and deconstruct the narrative and then construct a return narrative. When Israel calls itself the victim, Israel suggests that it has done nothing wrong, that it is innocent. Is this something that we agree with? Let's look at a phrase, a claim made by Israel. Israel has the right to defend itself. This claim is deceptive. It is vulpine. It is dangerous. It is deceptive because it suggests that Israel is innocent, that Israel is a responsible global citizen, that Israel respects, upholds and complies with international humanitarian law, when we know the opposite is true. It is vulpine. It is vulpine. It is vulpine because it is a wolf in sheep's clothing. By pitting Israel as the victim, it gives Israel license to commit its tyrannies under the slogan of self-defense.
Shame!
Shame! And it is dangerous because over the course of 75 years, this impunity, this language has made Israel more arrogant, more brazen, more ruthless in its occupation of the Palestinians. And this must stop. We have the power to make it stop. That power is through language. If you want to liberate the Palestinians or any other oppressed people, if you want to liberate, educate, discuss, debate, educate yourselves on the facts, educate yourselves on the history, learn the arguments, learn the talking points, discuss and debate the issues openly with friends, family, colleagues, peers. Do not be silenced. Do not be afraid. Criticism, any form of criticism, is not anti-Semitic. Being critical of Israel is not anti-Semitic. Being critical of Zionism is not anti-Semitic. Differentiating, distinguishing Zionism from Judaism is not anti-Semitic. Being pro-Palestinian is not anti-Semitic. Writing a letter of protest to your local MP is not anti-Semitic. Joining the BDS movement is not anti-Semitic. Facts, objective facts, truths, universal truths are not anti-Semitic. So please, spread the word. This is the most powerful thing that you can do. Spread the word, discuss, debate, openly. Now, there is a lot of speculation in the media, amongst American politicians, amongst the Israelis, around what a long-term solution can look like. This is before the bombs have even stopped dropping. Around what the next step should be. All of this discussion, all of these speculations are premature. And they are premature because there can be no long-term solution. There can be no next step unless and until Israel is held to account for its war crimes since the 7th of October, for its daily war crimes for the last 75 years since 1948. Israel must be forced to pay the consequences for its brutal occupation, for its genocide in Gaza and the West Bank. To this end, we call on the International Criminal Court to issue a warrant of arrest for Benjamin Netanyahu, for the criminal that he calls his ministers, for the Israeli soldiers that are carrying out this genocide. We call for them to face court, to face justice. Also, we call on the Australian government, on Penny Wong, on Anthony Albanese, to immediately call for a ceasefire. Immediately call for a ceasefire. We call on the Australian government to condemn Israel's genocide. We call on the Australian government to recognise the rights of Palestinians for self-defence under international law. We call for the Australian government to terminate its exports of arms and ammunition to Israel. We call on the Australian government to terminate its imports from Israel. We call on the Australian government to express their solidarity with the Palestinians. And we call for them to demonstrate that solidarity by lighting up our public institutions, the Sydney Opera House, the Flinders Street Station, Adelaide Oval, in the place of the immediately after the 7th of October. More than this, we call on the Australian government to pressure Israel to extend to the Palestinians the rights that are entitled to them under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, including, most importantly, the right of the expelled, the right of refugees to return to their homelands. Finally, I'd like to deliver two messages. The first is to Israel. Dear Israel, take heed. This is your landlord speaking. My name is Hassan al-Assad, and I belong to that current generation of Palestinians who are as connected with and as committed to our ancestral Palestine, and the only thing that will match our commitment, our connection, is our quest for justice. For 75 years, the plight of the Palestinians has only grown stronger, and with each passing generation it will grow stronger still. So Israel, take heed. As long as one Palestinian is alive, Palestine is alive. Secondly, a message about hope. I believe that hope is the most elemental, the most fundamental of all human rights. The hope to have a better life. The hope to have a future. Seeing you all here today makes me realise that in a place so far away from Palestine, the Palestinian hopes and aspirations are alive and strong. Despite Israel's attempts to systematically dismantle Palestinian hopes and aspirations over the last 75 years. And with that, I would like to deliver my final message to the children of Gaza. Dear children of Gaza, we cannot imagine what it must be like for you. We cannot imagine how difficult it must be, the impossibility for you to see light, to feel warmth against that cold darkness into which you've been thrust. But please know, we are gathered here today. We stand with you. We stand for you. Gathered here today, we will not allow Israel to extinguish your fragile flame of hope. We will not allow Israel to extinguish your fragile flame of hope. But we stand here to make sure that your flame of hope gets fanned into a roaring, raging fire that will provide you with light and warmth against that cold darkness into which you were born, against that cold darkness which has been thrown upon you. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
start to march. I'd like to call on Waleed, who's a doctor from Adelaide, to say a short few words.
Like all of you standing in the middle of the street to shout and to raise your voice and hands for what's happening in Gaza. I normally would not be here. This parliament is not my place. My place is in the hospital to treat people, revive their hearts if it stops, and keep them alive, and treat their pains. But I might be needed here because it looks like this parliament, as well as the federal parliament, is full of people with dead hearts that needs to be revived, and we're all here to revive them. You've all seen that it's almost 200,000 people injured in Gaza, and the doctors there and the operation rooms are all full of injured people. They're exhausted and they can't even treat them. They don't have even medicine or lights to operate on them or to alleviate their pain. But I might be needed here to revive the hearts of the politicians. I needed here to revive the hearts of Albanese and Wong and Peter Maniscus and all the others that they are here like dead at this building. I wish I would be there to help the medical staff there, but we are here to get the people of these parliaments and this government to hear us. They have dead hearts, they're deaf, they're blind, they can't see the dead children, they can't see the massacres that's happening before our eyes. And they even mute. They mute to one word, ceasefire. They cannot even say it. They're scared of it. It's something that cannot get across their tongues to say, ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Indeed.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
I'm not going to go through the list of war crimes that the Israeli army has been done over the last 41 days. To list them, it will be an exhaustive list, but they're all there. They attacked the buildings that are dedicated for religion, education, schools, art centers, science, charitable purposes, buildings, historic monuments, and hospitals, and places where the sick and wounded are collected. This is the human charter. On top of pain management is enshrined in the human charter, and the Israeli army denied the Palestinians in Gaza from all of that and attacked these buildings and attacked them where they're sheltered. Ceasefire now. When would you cease the fire? And then at the end of it, I am here, and I don't know how many in the crowd share the same profession with me, a health worker, but I will be leading the march. Hopefully, Mr. Albanese, Ms. Wong, Mr. Maniscus, and the rest of the dead-hearted people in this parliament and in Canberra to see me. I'm offering free service to revive your hearts.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
a month.
Shame!
This so-called Israel-Gaza war is really a war on Gaza. In the past few weeks, it's become a war. And I don't just want to talk about Gaza, I also want to talk about the West Bank. In the West Bank, all of their excuses turn to dust. All of the lies of Joe Biden and Anthony Albanese that this is somehow a terrorist base, the hospitals house terrorists, this is turned to dust now. They have no lies to spread there. On refugee camps such as Jenin, there has been raided in this past week by Israel, where Palestinians have been taken hostage for the crime of being Palestinian. And across social media, the Israeli military has been sharing videos where they have stripped Palestinians naked, where they have urinated on them, where they have beaten them in front of the eyes of them. And while this is happening, all that our leaders are saying is that they may push for a ceasefire, but also in the next breath affirm their close friendship with Israel. There is no friendship with an apartheid state. There is no friendship with ethnic cleansing. And only when enough Palestinians have been murdered for them will they feel confident to push for a ceasefire. Only when the death toll is high enough will they feel like they can utter the word. For Israel, this war started on October 7th. For Palestinians, this war started 75 years ago with the expulsion and murder of over 750,000 people. Today, we see that again with the displacement of now over 100,000 people. From protested, Albanese toured the US. He gorged himself on food with Joe Biden at dinners where they discussed the humanitarian crisis while people in Gaza starved. This genocide is apparently too complex to comment on. They need radio silence, actually, while this is happening right now. And while they sleep soundly at night funding genocide, the only sleep people in Gaza get is when they die. It's shameful the state of Israel is treated better in the media than the people protesting here today. These protests are treated as hate marches, not marches for liberation. Shame. But we need to keep coming out because we are the people who knows what's right in the world. Our leaders are funding this genocide and ethnic cleansing and cloaking it under self-defense, but we see through their lies. We come out here and we demonstrate against them when we demonstrate for Palestine as well. It's up to us to fight their lies, fight their brutality, and for a better world, for the liberation of Palestine, because our liberation depends on that as well. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
We need this to be loud enough that they hear us, that Penny Wong hears this in her office, blocks away. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free
is our home. Whatever they do, we won't back down. Take our souls, break our bones. We won't lose grip of our only hope. A freedom song, to this land we belong. We'll keep the fight 'cause we are strong. We own this home, we own this land. From the river to the sea, our motherland. We set it free, we got our stones and the olive tree. We own this home, we own this land. From the river to the sea, our motherland. We set it free, we got our stones and the olive.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You kill our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.